Hello and welcome to Galactic Historian Office Hours, just office hours. We're doing a re-intro because YouTube doesn't like it when you swear. You can't do a swear in the first 10 minutes. So, no swears. Oh, let's go through this again. Yeah, deja vu all over again. So, we've got a new kind of format here that we're going to be doing because I want to give some preference to Patreons. We do have a Patreon. We also have memberships on YouTube. We have subscriptions on Twitch. Many different ways that you can support the pub. But I do want to start giving some preference to folks who are paying money to make sure that I can keep doing these things, which is really nice of them. They don't have to when they do it anyways. Uses me sometimes. All right, let me try this. Change this. Doop. Back to Ask Me Anything. This. All right, sci-fi. Thank you so much for that 14 months evening verse. Love the Invictus video. I'm glad you did. If I buy a Cutlass Blue, paint it red, will I have a Cutlass Red? I don't think it works like that. So do exclamation point stack up. Try it again. That I needed 1 bit for it. It's cheeky. It's cheeky. So, before we get started, a couple things. First off, CIG has given us a Cutlass Blue to give away. I believe it's a Cutlass Blue package. It's in celebration of the Cutlass Blue coming out. So, exclamation point Cutlass in chat to get that. That's available there. Secondly, we are doing a kind of a minor fundraiser for Stack Up. Minor in the sense that it's not our 7 Days of Valor at the end of the day, end of the year stuff. But for those of you guys who have no idea what Stack Up is an organization that helps veterans and active duty soldiers in the US, NATO, and Australia and New Zealand through the power of video games. A couple things. First off, it helps active duty soldiers who are deployed, giving them game consoles and games to help them kind of mentally relax. It helps veterans reconnect and kind of get a lot of there's a lot of mental health stuff that they do for them. They have a stop program to help prevent people from to help keep veterans, like prevent veteran suicides and stuff like that. They also have a program for wounded veterans. So if they have received wounds in combat or just wounds in the service, doesn't matter if they're combat or not. And that makes it harder for them to play video games. They hook them up with like controllers or other things like that. I've raised money for them for several years. They're a really good program. They help a lot of people out, and there's something very close to my heart because I got a lot of friends who went off into the military in the early 2000s, who were video gamers, and there's a lot of stories I have, but this is something very personal for me. It also helps that my father-in-law is a veteran, and lots of same stuff. So try exclamation point stack up, see if that works. There, I guess it should work there. Cutlass doesn't seem to be working. Let's see what the reason that is. I haven't saved it yet. Give me a second. Yep. Now it should work. You could put the timer on there as well. Hey, Blue. And Ferric, thanks for that 4 months. Pull this up entirely. 6 p.m. in California. Hey, Roy. Hey, Troll. 2 a.m. in Britain right now. Anyone else can't sleep? Welcome, Troll. F in chat, yes. Weird, I didn't get notifications. Thanks, YouTube. It's all right. I'll put the giveaway for you guys on YouTube right there as well. So let's give it for everybody. The Cutlass. And, of course, the Stack Up page is, for the guys who are interested in Stack Up, it's right here. The Rust Society. I'm gonna take a look at them as well. People asked for the Synth World Project Archangel to look into that. I haven't done one on that. There's some interesting stories about that one. So there's just not a lot of content that I can show. Moist Noodle talked about this in one point. He asked me, he's like, Paul, I realize how hard Galactic Historian is just because there's not a lot of content you can use, and like there isn't. There's not a lot of like pictures or videos, since a lot of the stuff is very, very old, or there's a lot of stuff that's recent, but there's no content in game for it. So a lot of the stuff I have to do, I have to kind of use the magic of cinema to make it like look good. Oh, we got a hype train going on. Odin 9, we got 2 months of support. I haven't done done anything yet, but hey, Quantum Citizens, how you doing, buddy? What's your thought on Theaters of War? Also, hello from Be Goods. Hey, Jordan Be Good. What's my thought? Honestly, I don't think. I think it's a good idea, but I think it's going to end up being terrible. They need a lot of work for it. Like, the honest to God reality is, CIG needs to take all of the Origin systems, or whatever they're calling it, the electronic access stuff, all that electronic access things, the Arena Commander, Star Marine, and now Theaters of War. They need to sit down with a team and make a game. The problem is, and then they're making 3 games, and that's not good. What's my take? The take on it. Yeah. No, they don't say that. I assumed that they would be, but there hasn't been. They did say that they're going to be selling the Cutlass Blue again, but they haven't said that they're going to sell those ships again. I'm hoping they are on the same days that they're doing the free fly weeks. It would make a lot of sense. Yeah, well, game, I'm doing good. Are you aware of Team Rubicon? No, I am not aware of Team Rubicon. There's former military friends might find welcome home there. They can find military skills using disaster recovery. Oh, nice, Simon. I'll have to check that out. Thank you for the subscription with Prime there, Benjamin Buford. Thank you guys for all the follows and such, subs and everything. To watch for sales for during Fleet Week. Okay, thank you, Del. But I think so. There is going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of stuff for Jesus. Did I miss something else? No, I didn't. Good. I was going to say there's a lot of subscriptions. All the ships that are available for free flight will be available for sale. Good. Yeah, thank you, Soul Fox. I am feeling a little bit better. I'm going to be honest. I overate yesterday, and I haven't been doing enough moving around. So my body's like, hey. F you. You know? Edward. Because I've been in this kind of like, I'll just eat what I want for a day and then get back onto everything just so I can, because it's my wife's birthday coming up and all that kind of thing, so. Been a mistake on my part. Thank you guys for all the retweets and stuff like that as well. Did I put that retweet in there? I don't think I did. Copy. This. I am all sorts of unprepared today. Yeah, thank you, Solofox. Yeah, the Invictus video. Technically, I posted it yesterday, for Patreon viewers, but no one watched it. So I was like, it's been 24 hours. I'll post it on there. I was going to do it on Thursday. I'm glad I posted it today though, because I saw the preview for Inside Star Citizen, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to talk about what the Invictus launch week is." And I'm like, did I just release a lore video before the lore team released the video? Did I just preempt the lore team on the lore? Whoops. No, they won't sell the F8. I know there's some people who are upset that they won't sell the F8, but they won't sell the F8 because they chose not to. First month in the gold, looking for Tobias, Toby baby. And my next entrepreneur gameplay hits. Any new info about the Ben Merchantman and Privateer or modular ships that can support the intergalactic flea market? Not yet, Aaron. That's probably going to be a little bit further down the line. They have to kind of mature a lot of the. It probably has a lot more to do with the. There's going to be some other issues they have to develop first. So. Yes, we are raising money for StackUp.org. It's a great organization that helps veterans out with power video games. Yeah. Is that a wig? Ha 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 ha. Yes, it's a wig. It's not a wig. It's not the wig. Not the wig. If it was a wig, it'd be a lot better than this. Yeah, it's just, it's Utho Riley, exclamation point Utho in chat if you're interested in it. It's a fantastic musician. I guess for the level 2 hype train. Choo-choo. So the link on the Legacy Discord. Thank you, man. Yeah. Close this down. No. Yes. I think the shops rely mostly on quantum for the sales. Yeah, the dynamic economy is going to be required for the ships with shops. There's a lot of other background stuff that needs to get created. Plus, they need inventory systems, not just for players but for ships and such. Like, how much does the ship have on it? That kind of thing. Top donor and bits leader, indeed. With one. Oh yeah, thank you, Anadiah, for that $2 donation for StackUp. Yeah, I'm raising it with Burks and with the King Penguins. We're the three people who are from 7 Days of Valor that are doing it. On Friday, we're going to be doing a run. We're actually going to do like a Star Citizen. We're going to run from one place to another to raise money for StackUp. So you guys can join us for that one. I'll be doing it early. I'll be doing that early and then do the bar stuff afterwards. So, hey Firefly, hey Aaron. If it was a wig, I'd buy it. My hair is somewhere between the Astropub and board gamer. Close to board gamer, yeah. I've got a little bit of a recessive. It's slowly going backwards, but luckily I got a haircut just before the quarantine, so I'm not too bad. Yeah, beard is growing back. I gotta chop it down every few weeks, otherwise it just turns into a hobo beard. Because you can see like the gray in my beard starting on these sides. Run around Microtech, it would take too long. So the idea is to do about 100-kilometer run on foot. See how well that works. Are the electric people? Yes, they're supposed to be able to knock people out. Someone asked earlier about the Cutlass Blue, and the Cutlass Blue. They said they were originally not going to finish it unless they had gameplay for it. I think what the plan was with body dragging, weapon knockouts, is to by 310 to have the that sort of, and surrendering the 310 to have that kind of thing prepared, that thing ready for. Like the blue and the stalkers ready for actual usage, but I don't know. And it could be that the ship was actually done early, like in terms of components and everything. Wasn't like it's good. They just need to add some more stuff to it. I might be completely wrong with that, but you leave my place before I murder someone. If not 310, then very soon afterwards. It seems like they're trying to plan for that to start to be a thing. It's very obvious. All right, so I'm going to pull up a Galactic from the Galactic Historian Patreon. Every week, I'm going to have my Patreons let my Patreons ask a question. And the question for this Office Hours was from Adam Tresidder, who asks. We don't have a ton of lore on the UE Marines, and definitely not much recent. Do you think we'll get more about the UE Marines? The answer to that is yes, I believe we will. Maybe an episode of Squadron 42 with more focus on them. I do believe that Squadron 42 will probably have the Marines featured very prominently at some point. Or a ship geared towards Marines, like the assault ship. Think LHA from the U.S. Navy, or similar, smaller from other world navies. So, here's the thing about the UEE Marines. The UEE Marines are more like a special operations team. They're more like the SEALs than they are the Marines. They're more like Force Recon Marines. They're more like Delta or Rangers. But they're all just one. They're a Spec Ops command. The Marines have their own fleet carriers. They have their own support ships. They have their own fighters. The Marines are their own branch of just super specialized. Think of them as kind of like the Praetorian Guard of the UEE. They're the best of the best of the best of the best, sir. Kind of thing. And they're hand chosen at the very beginning of training to join the Marines, or you have to apply for it afterwards. So you have the UEE Army, which is the most basic of the branches you can get into. They're mostly in charge of protecting planets and then planetary invasions, so they don't get a lot of use. There's a Navy, which is the most common branch, where they're constantly out there, dealing with domestic and foreign issues. And then you have the Marines, which are brought in to deal with very specific high-risk targets. Taking on pirate, if you're going to invade a pirate base that's well defended, the Marines will do that. If you're going to take out a spy ring, a Xi'an spy ring inside the UEE, a Marine squad will do that. That's the kind of thing they do. Are the squadrons XX part of the Marines or Navy? Navy. Squadron 42 is part of the Navy. Does the advocacy or whoever have SWAT kind of police thing? Yeah, the advocacy SWAT is called the agencies, or the agents. Advocacy agents are they're kind of a cross between FBI agent, SWAT team, and U.S. Marshal. Kind of what they function as. HRT? I don't know what that is, but yeah, possibly. IRL, yes. In the UEE, in Star Citizen universe, in the UEE, the Marines are a completely separate branch. They're not part of the Navy. They have their own ships, for instance. It's a little confusing because you can have Marines in the Navy, which are not part of the Marine branch. they should probably consider changing the name from the Marines to something else, but I guess it works. Yeah, advocacy agents, the closest thing you can get to like advocacy agents are like Spectres from Mass Effect. They pretty much have authorization to do whatever they want to, short of, well, they can kill you too. They have everything short of like overthrowing foreign governments. What does the army do? So the army is mostly focused on defending the planets. So like, for instance, most of the army would use things like the Novas, the Tonks. They would be in charge of planetary-based ships and planetary defenses. MI5, yeah, that's pretty close. MI5 would be the closest thing. Space Gestapo. That's what they originally were. Yeah, the advocacy was originally a different thing, and then they became the Space Gestapo during the Messer era, and now since then they're becoming more like the Space FBI. I think Matrix Agent. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. All those different missions, focuses, roles, tactics. Exactly, Iron Dragoon, and that's the point. Is like the Marines have different focuses in terms of their specialization, but they all do specialized work. They're kind of like a Special Forces command, rather than just a branch. So you have some Marines which would be trained in infiltration. Some Marines would be trained in training local militia, kind of like the Green Berets. Some that are more like the SEALs, some more like the Green Berets, some that are more like the Delta, some that are more like the Rangers, some that are more like the Force Recon. They have different focuses inside the Marines themselves, but the Marines as a whole are a Special Forces command. Okay, big fat. You're just trolling at this point. So we'll see you in 24 hours. There you go. So basically, I can ask anything about lore if you want, or about the game. We're just kind of more of a passive kind of hangout, talk about the game, mostly about the lore, which is the focus. But we talk about the game as well. Navy cruisers are the verse, keeping a human presence. Yeah, Army ground pounders, exactly. Marines are spec ops. Yeah. Navy's job is frontline defense. They're the ones who deal with the Vandul mostly, that kind of thing. And they have forces that they drop, but mostly the Army. If there's going to be a planetary invasion, Army is the one who goes in. Who does space station ports security? It depends on the company. For instance, if the company, it depends on the location. So some are private contractors, some of them are internal security. Like Hurston has its own internal security, so likely, I think it's Bajini, which is or it might be, no, it's Eberus. Eberus Harbor is likely controlled by Hurston security. Even though it's a rest and relaxation station, they probably control it because they probably purchased it. UE operated ones, probably the UEE. A lot of the stations aren't controlled by the UEE; they're controlled by private companies, and those private companies will then contract the security out to whoever they want. But if it's controlled by the UEE, it's probably the Navy or the Army. It really depends on the station. Some stations are joint operated, so you'll have Navy, Marines, and Army together operating it. Some of them are naval stations, some of them are Army stations. Yep, Stanton does not have a Senate representative. They have governors, but they don't have representatives. If you're a citizen, you have a right to vote for the new imperator, but not a senator. Does the side effect of doing Widow make you stand in the chair? Yes, I'd like to think so. Is this Invictus the first event that has anything to do with the progress of Squadron 42? Probably not, but possibly. It's obviously a test. They're trying to add in some UEE elements, so it could, or it could have nothing. It really depends. Something I was thinking about in an older Office Hours show I watched. It would be interesting to see if the Kurthok or AI the Xi'an lost control of. We actually talked a little bit about that, I think, on the Info Runners at one point. Later would probably have its own protection as a system of lawful but not UEE. I would say, well, I mean, technically so is Nyx. Lear is not a UEE system, neither is Nyx. But they're probably a little bit more stable. They don't have nearly the amount of control as UEE controlled stations their systems do, though. Paul, do you see the new capital docks named like stone frigates? I don't get it. I've been looking for the Kraken a lot recently. What kind of time frame do you think will be flyable at? I think it'll probably be flyable at once they. I mean, I don't think it's hard for them to make something like that. I think the challenge is to get the back end ready for ships like that to be fun. So they're at the point where making ships isn't hard for them. What's hard for them is like building the back end to get everything else ready. Even like if you look at like mining, mining is pretty well along. They're playing around with the idea. I don't think salvage would be difficult for them to make, but there needs to be stuff in the back end that's worked on first before you can get the rest of that stuff done. Thomas June. I don't know if that's true or not. I'd have to look it up. That docs are just letter number. I think they're just letter number right now. Yeah. I don't think they have the stations might have that, but how does everyone make money? I'm saving up for an Eclipse, but so far I've only managed to make 150K out of 3.5 million AUEC. Smuggling is what I do. What do we know about the Banu militia? They're a Suli. So there's specific Banu who are fighters who are Suli, so like Suli security essentially. Yeah, so the ships would be UEES. So like it's the UEES. Stanton, for instance, is the ship you control or you're on, introduced initially in Squadron 42. Yeah, Fantex, I think that's when they do the cruisers, I think those are going to be the big DACA broadsiders, railguns out the wazoo. What's your guesses for Invictus Week? Part of Javelin and Idris? I think someone did some data mining and found out that it's going to be one Javelin, 2 Idrises, and squadron of P8s or P8s, F8 Lightnings. Oh, no, Dan, you mean literally sorting, not like sorting out. It needs sorting. That's part of. I'd say that sorting is more part of refining than it is sorting, than mining. How are you so fast at modding even when you're talking and doing other things? Practice. What's your version of an Anduril capital ship? Kind of capital ships we may produce? DACA. Mas DACA, por favor. Cruisers. I still think the Anvil is perfectly set up to making battle cruisers. Tough, lots of guns, just goes in swinging. The synthetic world. I did see that, DOS. Yeah, the synthetic world does sound cool, and it's something I'm looking to look into, the synth world. It's in big text. The prongs of the capital docks attached to orbital stations 3.91. Okay, I have to look at that. I don't know a lot about that. Benjamin Buford. It's likely just a randomized. They may name the individual dock stations after like famous soldiers, kind of like how you'll have some some like buildings in military bases have names from soldiers and stuff like that, or overpasses. What's the game plans for multiple crew improvements? Well, we have the ability on ships like the Carrack and Connie to delegate new shields instructions and power distributions. That's the idea, Graydon, but it's actually there already. You can actually distribute shields properly inside sheets on if any ship that has multiple seats or multiple things on it. This person can actually manage shields. You can even do things which are called hardening shields. This is a secret that PvPers will never tell you about. It's this grand conspiracy that players who are really good at combat don't tell you about. There's this thing called hardening, which will make it invincible for or make one side of the shield invulnerable to any fire for at least several seconds. And it works great if you have multiple people, because if you have somebody else there, they can just focus on managing the shields, distributing the shields properly, and then hardening the areas that are being attacked. But it's very simple. It's not complex, and that's the idea, I think, is to deal with distributing power, dealing with shields, dealing with communications, dealing with sensors and that kind of thing. See, here's the thing: cruisers and battle cruisers were or part of the original Kickstarter. And they're part of the original expansion that they were doing. It was a Kickstarter goal. Hey, Thick, how you doing, buddy? Think of examples like HMAS, Kittable, HMCS, Escamont. Or Station. They might be that. It might be UEED, like UEE Doc. I don't know if I'm weird, but the Kraken doesn't really excite me. It excites me only because of it's a simplistic carrier. It's going to be a lot easier to land and take off on the Kraken than it would be any other ship, and it's big. Lots of ships I love, just not one of them. Yeah, I get it. Who handles interrogations and prisons in the UEE military? The Navy does, at a place called Quarterdeck, which is a civilian / military run facility. It's a moon in one of the protected systems. No, it's a planet. It's a planet that's just a prison planet. God, I want the F8 landing so bad. Not 10k bad, but pretty bad. We'll see. Why are the door guns more fun than other guns? Because Screams and Creedence Clearwater Revival. Because Fortunate Screeches and Fortunate Son. Someone did in Spectrum fast calculations about how many javelins could on backers' hands. 2,000 more or less. How does the even Navy have that many javelins? How big is the armada? Javelins are very old ships. They've been around. They've likely been around since the Mezar era, which was 500 years. And in those 500 years, you've probably mothballed a lot of ships. And the Navy is huge. We're talking about the UEE Navy has several fleets that deals with individual. Someone went through and broke down like the whole fleet structure at one point that I haven't really done so yet. But there's a lot of ships in these fleets, and a lot of these things. Think about like how many M1 Garands are still in. I know they're not; those aren't battleships. But think about another way to put this: how many like carriers did the U.S. have at the beginning of World War II versus the end of World War II? And you'll see like an idea. Now imagine that, but plus hundreds of years and not a lot of change. So, leading question, I know, but door guns are more fun than other guns. I don't know why. Yeah. Will there be a lot of patriotism displays during Fleet Week, or is it a little bit more neutral? Definitely going to be a lot more patriotism. It's an entire like the whole event is designed around getting people to sign up for the Navy. So, and you got to remember that citizenship isn't really a big deal. As much as it seems kind of off. Citizenship is much more of a perk than it is something you're willing to die for in the UAE, because you can still vote in the UAE. You just can't vote for like the Imperator or your senators. You can still vote for your governors, but in the way that the UAE functions, a governor is a lot more power to your personal life than a senator is. You know, a governor of say, Terra will have a lot more direct control. They're kind of like the president of a planet. You know, there's a lot of power in that. They deal with, like, laws and all sorts of things as long as it doesn't intercede with the UEE. Senate and the Imperator are much more focused on big scale things, dealing with the Vandul, the Xi'an, that kind of thing. Things that you don't deal with, your average person doesn't deal with a lot. So things like Fleet Week are designed to try to get people involved in joining the Navy because they need recruits, because they're fighting a war. But overall, because, you know, they need to get a reason. They're trying to put people up into joining. Citizenship isn't just one of those things that you just like, oh yeah, you can get citizenship. It's more like, hey, plus when you're done, you get citizenship. It's kind of like a perk afterwards. The old fan-made design for the Anvil Phoenix looked insanely beautiful. Scale up, mass DACA and Gib. Yes. Be good neighbors regardless. Yeah. They are kinda. I mean, like, it's an interesting story. Like, the politics inside the UEE are very interesting. There is an internal movement to make the UEE less harsh, but it's butting up against a lot of traditionalists who just don't trust like Xenos, period. So you've got a lot of people in there who are doing really good things for trying to, like, incorporate the Devarin more, give them more opportunities, try to open up humanity to other species more. Then you have people who are just like, kill Ivory Xeno, humanity first, you know, remember Earth, you know, everything else. So just ask the question. What ask the question? What did he say? The Banu Shuriken is good for hardening. Yes, it is. It's a good example of one of those things. Hey, Achius. How does one do hardening? So if you look at the display, the shield display, you'll see that there's little boxes on above the, like, little numbers with the that kind of go up and down. You look at the shield's, like, readouts. Those boxes are the hardening boxes. You click those to harden. Been good, man. No problem, Gray Square. Great. When instrumenting variables in time and space analysis, what's the best way to address conalinity 42? There's Firefly. There you go. The Spanish Inquisition. CCR is the way, the truth, and the light. Yes. I'm way behind in all this stuff. With larger and larger and the same a lot of folks, they want AI and multi-crew limitations on ships. I kind of agree with that. I don't think you need as many AI. You want to try to reduce that as much as possible, because I feel like you need the purpose is for multi-crew fun, and you need to make it fun, but you also need to have more reasons for people to go hire another person rather than just buy stuff so they can go solo a frigate. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. What's the intended server size once the player meshing goes live? No idea. It's as big as possible is probably what Siachi says. Yes. Incessant use of Fortunate Son. But the Navy will only have retribution to fight the kingships. Why? Too expensive? It's too expensive. It's just the retribution itself is so big, it's just not as practical. In reality, the UEE has fought kingships before with just Bengals. It's just... I kind of want to say that it's more of a we need fire to fight fire kind of thing. It's more of a give us the biggest thing we can. It's a lot more of like that military industrial complex that's like pushing for more bigger. it's also just kind of a test because they've never actually fought one against a kingship. So they want to see how well it would work. At one time they said single universe for all. That was the plan. So that's the thing. It's like there's going to be a single universe for all, but each individual shard and individual server is going to be able to hold a certain number of people. Which is, and they want to have as many as possible. The question starts becoming, what's the size of the universe you need for what you're going for in terms of like the size of server? Do you need to like, that's what server meshing is all about. They want to have server meshing because at the very least they want to have different zones. So like North America, Australia, and the EU need to have their own big server mesh, if not global server mesh where everyone's kind of in the same thing. So, or to attack the Navy because you remember that the victims of UE on planets they decimated. Yeah, Starship Troopers. Yeah, just saying. Tanaka's too. Yeah. That's one thing that CIG does really good job of. It's like you can easily just get whipped up in the like patriotic fervor of the UEE, but if you do any kind of digging, you just kind of see the seedy underbelly. Like, oh yeah, we're kinder, gentler to humanity, except we're not. Like, why didn't we get rid of the UEE moniker? Because Earth. Like, there's a lot of very Roman reasons why things are have not changed, because we don't change things. And it adds a lot more to the the outlaw side, the side that is in many ways not just saying we want to fight we want to like be bad guys, but we want to actively try to break the society down because we think it's corrupt. Which is cool. It's a cool dynamic. You need to create a universe like that's more complicated. That's not just black and white, because that's not fun. People who can have legitimate concerns on either side and make good arguments, that really depends on people's morality. Making choices. One question I have is about the CIG going to keep big ships like the Idris and Bengal from moving, pivoting, rotating too quickly and looking stupid. They'll just slow them down, probably. What's going on here then? Hey, Craiklin. How's it going? We're talking about lore and stuff as always. There's one thing that bugs me when it comes to Star Citizen lore, the poor background story as to why AI is not a thing in future combat. Adrian, that's not a, there's a lot of detail about that's in the background, but the basic reason why is because Chris Roberts didn't want to have that as part of the universe, so they kind of had to come up with their own reasons. There's a lot of information about it. I haven't gone through all of it. And like broken it down, but there's a lot of stuff about AI that's sprinkled throughout the lore. Just prattling about Fleet Week, yeah. Also door guns, and why door guns are the best guns, yes. See, I'm so far behind. I am so far behind. Oh gosh. Let's try this again. Let's try to go through it as quick as possible. Would you consider making a Galactic historian that compiles your comparisons of Star Citizen factions to the influences from human history? Yeah. Should all ships have door guns? Yes. The answer is yes. They won't turn quick. Look at the 890. Turns very slowly. Yeah. How many hammerheads would it take to make an impenetrable wall of Dhaka? 5. I don't trust humans. Zeno scum. Cutlass. Yes. Daniel Ramsey, you're gonna have to be in Twitch to get that one, but I'll give you guys a link to it here in both chats real quickly. CIG's giving us a Cutlass Blue giveaway. Enjoy it. Boom. I'm so far behind with all this stuff. Remember the can't, yes. Remember the can't. Well, voila. At least do door guns feature predominantly in lore, and why? If not, why not? Because CIG's afraid of door guns. We know a lot about the UE Navy, and we know a fair amount of the UE Marines. Have the lore team forgot about including the UE Army? Is that a thing of the past? Not really. It's just that most of the big events that the UE Army was part of was previous wars. The First and Second Tevaran War was mostly fought by the Army on the ground. There just really hasn't been enough call for the Army. Maybe Vega, maybe the Grinder, but a lot of the other wars have been mobile wars fought by the Navy. I like the Star Runner. Is the AI going to join in the Invictus Week in the future? Like the NPCs? Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Krthok. We know nothing about them. Yeah, they could. There's a lot of theory that they could be AI. They could be a robotic entity. Thinking about politics, could Zeno Threat be funded by the centrists? 100% believe in it. I believe they are. 100%. Especially during an election year. Yeah. How big of an SSD should I get for Star Citizen? Possibly Squadron 42. I mean, you can get a 1 terabyte SSD for about $90 these days. It depends on where you live. Like in the US, you think you can get it for like between $90 and $100, which are pretty good. I have a 256 gigabyte SSD that I use for both. I'm gonna use for both, which should be big enough, I hope. How do you describe the Banu economic system using human terms and economic terms as we know about them? They're ANCAPs. Like the hands down ANCAPs. For those guys who don't know, that means anarcho-capitalist, which means they don't really have a government structure. They let companies decide and let the market decide on everything. I'd say a mix between ANCAPs and socialist anarchists. There's no central government, so they don't really do. Yeah, I'd say ANCAPs. It's probably the closest thing you can get to is ANCAPs. I really like the approach in our in-game displays AIs to go haywire because of them. So many options and story routes there. Yeah. Pretty plot for my character, since she does not agree with the UE, but joining the UE has a perk of getting citizenship, and voting for people in the higher power keeps them do. That's, one of the things. Does shield and hardening happen immediately when you click the button, or does it have time? I think it depends there, General Sal. I think sometimes it depends on the patch. In the past, I've noticed that it happens almost instantaneously, but it can take some time. I'm fine with like maybe a cap of 5 to 7 AI per ship. Yeah, that would make sense. That's actually my earlier comment about the about it. Possibly the Xi'an had it with the Krthok and the AI rebelled. Yeah, something like the Geth and the other people who I'm blanking on. that whole thing from Mass Effect. Wunderweapons, yes. You shouldn't really be soldering a hammerhead. Yeah, no. See, I'm so far behind. I don't even know what everyone's saying. You play an outlaw? Crecklin, you play an outlaw? What? For that precise reason? Because you don't really trust the UEE. I mean, I tend to play, I'm going to be playing a smuggler because I can see the advantages of staying within the law, but also I don't trust the UEE. Question, there's an article about the death of a spaceman, but no article about the death of a space woman. Why is space gendered? I don't know. Ask Chris. Shield hardening is a non-functional mechanic in 3.9. Cameral tested it. Makes no difference whatsoever. Even on the Banu Sakura shields. Sorry, but the actual guy. The actual guy. Oh, really? Because it was working in 3.8 and 3.7. So maybe they've changed that recently. It maybe just be bugged. Modern Magnum, are you an Earth pimp or a Terra simp? Ooh, we're gonna do that now, huh? There, Mandem. It's okay. It's okay. You can sit there on your pile of old bones on Earth while I sit here sipping the new hotness on Terra. That's okay. It's okay to admit that you're inferior. I thought that like the only dude out there that is bugged by the poor exploit of storytelling failed us. Now I want to read The Expanse again. There we go. Okay. Basically the US right now. Worse than the US. Probably better than the US. If you personally believe in anarcho-capitalism, you'd love the Banu. They sell their kids into slavery. It's not really slavery, it's more like internships, but they sell them into slavery for internships, and then they go off and get a job because of that. That's why it's kind of like socialism. It's this weird blend of ANCAP and like communist, because like everyone has a place in Banu society. Like you do not have a place. It's just you're constantly in competition with one another, trying to be the best. They already have their storyline and write it because of some oddball got elected. Yeah. I already have the Smoker's Fist, exactly. Hello, space spells. Hello, space crawl men and space crawl women and other crawl genders. Yes. Like George Lucas said, there's no bras in space, implied, so no women. What system was the blue man in? Hades. Space human. Yeah. We cut the cord literally. We should cut it figuratively. The time to toddle. We got time to make shoes. Yeah, I mean, it's technically indentured servitude because you're not treated like property. But children don't have a say in their sale. They're just sold when they reach a certain age to evaluation Suli, who then sell those kids to various Suli that they'd be good at, and then have them go work for like a spaceship Suli or something like that. They're not property, but they got to work off their education fees. But it is really cool. It's a really cool system. It's one of my favorites. Hey, Nighthawk. You know what Terra is the name for Earth in Latin and Italian? Yes. The reason why they call it Terra versus Earth, and a lot of sci-fi calls Earth Terra, is because they wanted to create a Rome versus Constantinople split in Star Citizen lore. So like Terra is Byzantine, it's Byzantium, it's Constantinople, whereas Earth is Rome. So they wanted something that sounds like Earth, but is like New Earth kind of thing. Hey, No Flex, how you doing, buddy? They never explained the compound that that lore video had and the person going to get some kind of metal or something on the dead planets in the system. They never explained what that compound was. They said it was kind of like a temple. Hey guys for the follows. Istanbul, it's Constantinople. No, it's Istanbul. I love that song. I love it. Any idea if the word is all related to Abraham's father, Terah? Probably not. It might be, though Terra is Latin for earth, like soil, I believe. Terra firma. Earth 2, Electric Boogaloo. Nobody's business but the Turks. Paul, what's your favorite non-human race in the game this time? And do you think you'll get ready to play other races in the game at some point? The plan at some point, they said that they would be interested in doing that at some point in the near future, or in the distant future, but that would be like a DLC, something they do after the game has been launched, or after Star Citizen has been launched. My favorite species is... It's really hard to choose. I like the Xi'an for their own reasons. I like the Banu for their own reasons. I like the Tavaran for their own reasons. And I think, honestly, the first species we'd get for playable races for players would probably be the Tavaran. Because the Tavaran are about the same size as humans. They live in the UEE, so you don't have to change their starting story or anything. You would have to change you'd have to give them some changes so they wouldn't be just overpowered in first-person combat. You know, kind of like how some people will choose the female character models because they're slightly smaller, that kind of thing, so they have the smaller hitbox. But I think that would be that'd probably be the first thing they'd do, and then after that they might do some of those other ones. But we're talking like when the Endeavor is out. We're talking a long time from now. Makes me wonder if they keep those compounds in the game and be key components for proper overclocking on the Endeavor. Probably. Do you think the new species can decide to start a war with the UEE and then release a Star Citizen game where fighting two major wars if we're based on the Vanduul is not only aggressive? Maybe. I mean, it really depends on CIG's, the way that they've been developing, like the lore team's really been developing the game is much more focused on keeping things open They want to see what players do and then drive the direction of the story based off the players' decisions. So if more players are doing this thing, they want that to impact the story a little bit more. They have an idea of where they want the story to go, but they also want to have players play a part in that story, more than just ramrodding it down your throat. Which is why there's a lot of loose ends in the storytelling of CIG, like the AI. AI could be a thing that they talk about later on down the road, depending on how players react to those kind of things. The Vandal will conquer the enslaved Terra of the future. Thanks. Yes. No, more like Rome. Is 310 still planned for the end of June, even with 3.9 delay? I mean, yeah. We're not going to get it at the end of June. We'll probably get it sometime in July, but yeah, I think it's still planned. Well, what's more interesting regarding war-wise to me is UE Civil War. Yeah, the UE Civil War between Terra and Earth, which has been brewing for a long time, is going to be interesting. Purchase the space farm. Yeah. Can you summarize the possibilities of the next Emperor? If the centrists win, the same. The transitionalists win, Terra is the new capital of the UE. The Terrans don't have that power. The transitionalists don't have that power. The Imperator doesn't have power just to say Earth is no longer the capital, Terra is now the capital. It would be a huge upset if the transitionalists won, because they're a small party. They don't have the votes in the Senate. If the transitionalists won in the imperatorship, they'd be probably the first transitionalist. I don't think there's been a traditionalist imperator since before this. They would likely just prove that the transitionalists aren't crazy hippies who are trying to destroy the empire, like the centralists believe. If the universalists win, the universalists are currently in power. They're the one who have the majority. I don't think the universalists are out yet. I'd have to double check. Since did they release the latest polls? Because I know they were going to do one in May or March. The second round of voting is over with, I know, but I didn't see who exactly is winning. Yeah, the top 5. I'd have to go see where did they post that on like a lore post? I was looking for it the other day and I couldn't find it. View all. Let's go through the view all session. A 5 Imperial. They did, and I didn't see it. It was posted a week ago. I feel stupid. Who are the winners? So you've got Leilani Addison, who is a Universalist, or independent Leilani Addison, Titus Costigan. Nice. I'm a big fan of Titus. He's a good guy. Centralist Paul LaSalle, Transitionalist Mira Nagao, obviously, and Universalist Liana Shard. Ooh, 2 Universalists still made it in there. They're going to split the vote. And Leilani Addison was the former, I think she's the former Navy Admiral. That'll make my next video easier, because I was going to do a video on this. No, that's Admiral. Who's Leilani? Oh, she's the AI person. She's the person who's all about bringing back AI. That's nice. That's nice. So all of the other crazy ones left. So Leilani Addison, Titus Costigan, who's the son of the current Imperator, Paul LaSalle, who is the centralist candidate, then Mirnago, who is the transitionalist candidate, This is an interesting one. They're going to split the vote in the last one. They are. Costigan and Sherrod are going to split the vote. So Sherrod is the current, like, she's currently the in charge of the speak Paul Congress. She's the head of Congress. Ooh, it's interesting. I'm gonna have to do more research on this. I need Black Intellect. I need your help. We need to sit down and talk about this. Yeah, I'll share the link in chat for you guys. Not now. You'll be able to vote in August, I think. How many humans do you think are still alive in Star Citizen? Hundreds of billions. Easily. Hundreds of billions. There are planets that have the same size. Like Earth is, like, I think 6 billion on Earth alone. Terra's probably close to that too. They allowed players to vote in the last senator election for the Tavaran senator who won. So that's going to be interesting. They said that they want players' input, so we'll see. For all my Imperator news, I need to do it. Two centralists. No, not two centralists. An independent, one transitionalist, two universalists, and so it's the two universalists, a centrist, transitionalist, and the independent. The independent's the AI person. Universalists, basically Titus and Sherrod have basically the same platform, which is more free trade in the UEE. They're very central, like very moderate candidates. And then you've got the transitionalist, who is she's very much the more liberal candidate. She's all about why am I blanking on the name? She wants to get at least a specific number of Tavaran in every government branch. So like affirmative action for Tavaran, and lots of other things she wants to do. And then Paul LaSalle, I don't know a lot about him. Oh, he's the centralist chairperson. He doesn't have the clout. He's probably not going to win, to be fair. I think the best options are going to be, it's going to be between Mira, Liliana, and Titus. Costigan, Nago, and Sherrod are going to be the final ones. I'm already in 4.0 pre-Avocati. She's the one who wants to send strongly worded letter to the Evandul. Yes, she is. That's the only thing I don't like about the transitionalists, is that they're very... why fight the wars? Let's just not fight wars, guys. Like, fuck off. Question, what kind of government will the UEE be when we are in the verse? Democratic Republic. Very loose Democratic Republic. Most of the planets mostly deal with themselves. Most planets are independent in terms of their, in terms of how they run themselves. Wasn't the first emperor post-Messer a transitionalist, at least in Threat of Terror? Yeah, she wasn't a transitionalist, but she was a big friend of Terra and she was actually the one who proposed the change of the name, and as well as to move the capital to Terra, and it failed. If you could design a dream ship for Star Citizen and have it in the game, what would it be? It already exists. It's called the Freelancer. No. I like a base ship. Rather than building a base, it is a base. It's a ship that is also a base. Think the command centers from StarCraft. It's a ship that flies, lands, and then is a base. It's mostly designed as a base, but because it's got a quantum drive and jump drive in it, and go move around. Release the Karens. I don't know if you can comment on this or not, but have you seen leaked Javelin stills? I have. I don't know if those are actual real or not, so I don't know. Absolutely a Drake design. Exactly, that was my plan. Have a base that's also a ship. Is a base that's also a ship. And it's a Drake ship. Like the castle lines from Voltron? Yes. Thinking, or like White Base from the Gundam series. Very similar. The Cutlass? Hey, I'm cheap. My point is that the side guns on the leaked Javelin seem odd. They look like nothing we have seen ever before. I don't know if they're real or not. That's the reason why I don't know. Or the command centers from Command and Conquer series. Did the command centers from Command and Conquer series also move? It's a colony ship. Yeah, exactly. It's totally a mobile pirate base, but it's a mobile colony base. Because I could see that definitely being like a competitor to, instead of like we're gonna build an outpost like the Pioneer. It's like, yeah, we're the frontier, the Drake frontier, or the Drake Castile. What is it called? Presidio, the Drake Presidio. Perfect name for it. The Drake Presidio. I've already got a name for you, CIG. The idea that the weapons are also mostly like turrets. They're mostly based off like defending the entrances and stuff like that. You got thrusters, you get space, and then moves. What are your thoughts on the Cutlass Blue possibly having interdiction capability? Last I checked, it does. I flew around it in PTU today, and it has a it definitely has some it has not an interdictor but a jammer. It like prevents people from jumping away, which I like. I prefer it to have that than to pull people out of quantum, just because that makes more sense for a blue. It's supposed to be like a police ship. Also a not just a police ship, but also a like a bounty hunter ship. So it makes more sense to track down the target and then have it something that's like, hey, you're not leaving, like a grappler. So presidios are a military fort, Spanish military forts that were built next to, usually built around or close to missions in the New World. And I believe the presidio is essentially the Spanish word for fort or something similar to that. So you call them presidios because of the connection to colonialism back in the day, like you have the Pioneer. But instead of being a pioneer where it's building new things, it's protecting you. Protection. Because Drake is also really bad at naming, because it's like, we're totally not pirates. Here's the Cutlass. We're not bad. Here's the Kraken. When you flying around the blue today, did you happen to notice if it still has the second shield gen it was supposed to have? I didn't know. I didn't notice. Are you?
Am I into ASMR? Yeah, no, I'm not into ASMR.
I just have this in the background. Here's the Buccaneer, exactly. Blue's a single shield? Yeah. Why don't we hear about / see more of the UEE Army? Have they just been split, absorbed in the Navy, Marines? No, because they're mostly, I think I already answered that, Dirk, but they're basically, they're mostly focused on planetary defense. As a result, they tend to not be very, very visible. unless you were going to see an invasion or on the border planets. Like, you're not going to, like, Stanton wouldn't have army presence. But, like, Vega might. Just because it's, you know, the planets on Vega will. Castak Arms doesn't pretend it's not. It actively talks about it being the people's gun. Hey, Ron. Yes, we're raising money for Stack Up, which is an organization that helps veterans with video games. We already have raised $2. There's the link. They're a great group. They help veterans in the United States, NATO, and Australia and New Zealand, as well as just pretty much anywhere it is. If you know a veteran, you can have them sign up on stackup.org, and they can receive crates and stuff like that as well. We've been raising money for them. We usually raise money for them in November, but a couple of the 7 Days of Valor guys wanted to put together and get some stuff done. So, like, Burks is raising money. Myself, I'm raising money. King Penguins is raising money. So. Talking about AI, are you going to do a video about the Artemis? If not, tell us everything you know. Probably not, but I'm going to definitely do one about AI because it comes up a lot. The question comes up a lot. But Artemis was just a quantum drive ship that was designed to go into deep space, and it had an AI so that everyone could be cryogenically frozen while they were on the trip. There's really not much we know about it other than it disappeared. Oh, the Dino Egg badge. I have the Dino Egg badge because I had to... I recently created this page for 2020 because every year you have to create a new page, so... As a team, so far, we've raised... Burks has raised $335. We've raised $2. And I don't think King Penguins has raised anything yet, quite yet. But like right now, our goal is about $2,500 is what we want to hit by the end of the week. So we'll see. That's just a little badge, that's saying that we just started out doing stuff, though. It's how they categorize people. What are your thoughts on the information about Squadron 42 short beta next week? What? That doesn't sound right. If anything, we'd probably have a beta on we already have, but on Theaters of War, not Squadron 42. In your lore vids, I've watched it's made clear that the Stanton has 2 jump points, one to Terra and the other one to Palace. No, Magnus, yeah. So how is CIG going to no, because they have Pyro. They have 3 jump points. I just screwed it up. If I said there's only 2 jump points, I made a mistake. Let me double check. I think I said it in the Jumptown Wars that one we talked about it having 3 jump points, bidirectional. Stanton Star Citizen. There we go. So the Stanton system has 4 planets. It has 3 bidirectional jump points. Yep. Terra, Pyro, and Magnus. Those are the 3 ones they have. It has 2 large bidirectionals, Terra and Magnus, but Pyro is technically a medium bidirectional. Shut up, Vertigo. Start your own lore series. Bring it on, Vertigo. I want to hear the salt. Hey, Psycho Warrior. Question 2: people donating get that badge? I think they get some badges too. I don't know if it's just on the website though. Rumors are floating around. There's a very short beta for Squadron 42. That's what the Squadron 42 update was. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't want to report on those kind of rumors because I don't know, and it doesn't sound right. People are thinking that like Squadron 42 is going to be publicly available to people. It won't be. The status of them going into beta is more of them saying, hey, we've reached a beta state of development. They've talked about, I think they've thrown around the idea of maybe having ETF have access to it, but I don't think they've ever legitimately come out and said that they'd give access to everyone with beta. Right, that's the thing with the usual. Yeah, I wouldn't want to like. I want to be as accurate as possible. But yeah, sorry, Troll. If I made it clear there was only two, likely I was focusing on the fact that it was in the middle of trade routes between Terra and Earth, which is the big deal about it, because it's got a large jump point to Earth, or to Terra, which is huge. Then it's got a large jump point to Magnus, which is huge, because Magnus then has like 2 or 3 jump points from Magnus's Earth, all large jump points, which means you can have huge ships fly between Earth and Terra using that route, which means Stanton is incredibly important in the entire UEE for trade, because it's literally sitting next to the most economically viable, economically vibrant system, and it's on the trade route between Earth and Terra, the capital and the economic heart. So, and it's got 3 super Earths with plus a large gas giant you can harvest for fuel. It's like the perfect system for what it's become. Yeah, I don't think to not let players try the beta. I don't think that works out really well. I think the best way they could do this is release a free, get the first mission series done and release it for free as the beta, to say kind of like as a demo, so players can play the introduction mission to Squadron 42, so they can see, what it feels like, if they like it or not. No, they said that beta was going to be released. They were going to reach a beta state by Q3. But that was the beginning of the year, before they totally abandoned the Squadron 42 roadmap. Mm-hmm. Makes it a PC gamer issue, exactly. That might be the case. I don't think we'd see that. I think they'd probably showed something like that at like E3. That would be the time they actually go to E3 and like show it off on like the PC gamer stage or something like that. But trick question: are you hyped for this year's CitizenCon? I would have been if it wasn't canceled. The thing is like, that's kind of what Star Citizen's going for. It's that old school feeling. So them doing a demo, like a free demo for people to try, would fit right into the aesthetic that CIG has been going for in terms of like how they wanted to show off Star Citizen in Squadron 42. And it would go a long way to showing people that this game isn't just a bug-ridden mess, that they actually have some stuff that they're doing. Hey, Phil Hood. Do you think bounties log in out when they are being chased? How would log in out be conflict? Okay. Hello, what do you think about bounties log out when they're being chased? How could log out be in conflict when players' own bases are in? The hardest part about that, you'd probably need to have players be turned into NPCs, or likely you're just SOL ban if they lock into a base. Likely what they'll do in the future in terms of bounties is players will, you'll be able to find other players. You'll have to track them down somehow. So there'll be some system you can use to track other players down. But it's, the problem is that you're going to have the risk reward factor. So it's going to have to be worth a lot of money. The way it works right now works fairly well if there was a system for tracking people, because there's a lot of people who have bounties who don't realize they have bounties. And I think that works really well as well, especially if you take out the crime stat and just make players look up their own criminal statuses at like those little like fine centers. That would make a lot of sense. Like maybe have some sort of system that says, hey, you're flagged in this system, and you have to go look up why you're flagged. Just because you don't know if you have a warrant out for your arrest now. The only way you'd know that is if you found out through being arrested. And that makes it dangerous. So if you're a pirate, you don't know what your status is in whatever system you're in. And you don't know if you've been caught or not. So every action you have is stressful, which is what I want. So I think that honestly, the risk players like they are now need to be worth a lot of UEC, and the risk is that the player just logs out. So you need to find a way of capturing them without them noticing you're there. It's a skill thing. On the bright side, at least the money we save on a trip to the CitizenCon we can spend on spaceships. Yeah. Question: how are we going to put bounties out in bounty hunting ships when a mark is caught in a major city like ArtCorp? Drag to the terminal and call up a ship, maybe. Yeah, I mean that would be the idea. Is that if you have a bounty on you and you're an ArtCorp, I still like the idea of having reputation systems or like a licensing situation, where if you're licensed with the Bounty Hunters Guild, you can carry around stun weapons, in like ArtCorp, because you have a reputation for it. So you find a bounty in ArtCorp who thinks they're safe, you stun them, you drag them out, you slap cuffs on them, and then you take them to, if it's like a personal bounty, you have to take them all the way to that person. If it's just like the UEE wants them, you can drag them to the local security station, dump them off, and get the credits, kind of thing. So. Adrian, we don't do illegal activities here at the pub. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're not pirates. Who wants to be a pirate? Do I look like I have an eye patch and a hook? No, of course I'm not a pirate. We stay completely above board here. You don't go to the back room and ask for grokkies for the good shit. None of that. None of that. We don't smuggle. Push up. No. I think the system would be fundamental to get right, because there could be chances for people to build bases on top of each other's bases in a similar system like we have now. You just kick down the door of a base, man. If someone has built a base and you know they're in that base, you just kick down the door of the base. If they're logged out, then you have to wait till they log back in, kind of thing. Okay, good. All I want from bounty hunting is the original Prey 2 concept. I don't know what the Prey 2 concept was, so it should be nice to have a contract system like Eve. I mean, I feel like they still need to do that, but I don't think you need that, especially if you have player-to-player transfer. Kick the door down and take their shit. Exactly. A tie rat. A tie rat. Just saw a video made by an ED player. You mean, why am I blanking on his name? I feel so bad. Because I just reached out to him and been like, yo, bro, you wanna do some, dig that. Dig that's fantastic. First foray into SC. And you could see his face that he was enjoying it. Being an experience with an immersion factor does not exist in ED, as well as being frustrated by the bugs like the rest of us. Yeah, I mean, that's... like, the thing about Elite Dangerous is I like Elite for what it is. I don't think you're ever going to get space legs, not because I think it's impossible, but because I don't think it would be a good experience. I think Elite Dangerous is good for what it is. If they really want to do space legs, they need to start from the ground up, make another Elite game, because it's been 4 years since Elite Dangerous came out. Just make a new game. Make a new Elite game with that at the basis of it. with Space Legs at the basis of that. You already have the engine worked out for it. Just focus on that, and then like add the Elite Dangerous gameplay on top of that around that situation. Work on like the nested physics grids and stuff like that. CIG is not the only one who's done that. I mean, they did the Sea of Thieves has the same concepts. So just build that out, and then you've got it. The problem is that Frontier FDev is very much a money company, and that sounds weird, but like they focus on profits more than making a game. So if the game isn't profitable, like I don't think Elite is very profitable anymore for them. They don't really care about it. They'll have people develop it because they don't want to like kind of just abandon it, but they're not going to put a lot of effort into improving the gameplay to a point where you're going to have all this other stuff into it just because it doesn't make enough money. Make a new game, you'll make a lot of money. No, troll gamers. No, I want to have I literally want to open up a bar out of a ship in game, calling it the Astropub. A muscular bartender. I'm not muscular. I'm big, but not muscular. Ouch, Gamers Cafe. But you're not wrong. Like, it touches every little aspect of the game. You need to build that first and then build the world around that. Kind of like how CIG did it. A good example, if you want to see Elite Dangerous with Space Legs, without space combat, but with Space Legs, or without first-person combat, but Space Legs, X4. X4 does the exact same thing. It's janky, and the graphics aren't great, but that's kind of what you see, what you would have. You'd have a space where, like on stations, where you could go do missions, copy-paste missions, stations kind of thing. And then you'd probably have some places you could do first-person combat. Hey, what did you miss? You missed everything, Bannerwolf. All you need is a privateer. We'll become a corporate monster at this point. Online, shush. The fluffy bartender. Oh, what do you want to know there, Bannerwolf? We have a free flight week that's coming out on Friday. They have the Cutlass Blue is coming out, which is a surprise. Paint is coming to the game. Microtech has been released. They also have new Babbage in the game. I'm trying to think of what else is new. They've been improving the UI stuff. I mean, there's no really like gameplay additions quite yet, but yeah. Did I purchase the Legatus package? I don't have $27,000 to purchase on it. Most of the money I've spent on this game has been on giveaway stuff, and I think I'm at like $15K. But most of that is not mine. It's just stuff that I ended up giving away. Yeah, Stealth works now. The Prowler is out. 142? No, it's still in development. Most people will tell you that Squadron 42 is not going to come out until, at the very earliest, 2021, if not 2022. I'd love to see... See, the Cat was supposed to have a bunch of different modules, and one of the modules for the Cat was going to be a recreation module that had a bar on it. One of the ideas. Oh, it's skins. It's 100% skins. I really hope that in the long distance future, they allow you to paint those skins individual colors. So primary, tertiary, and primary, secondary, tertiary, using the skins as kind of more like a style. There's a term for it. I'm blanking on it. Like a template, and then you just have primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in that template. Pattern. Thank you, pattern. Pattern would work. The idea is that the skin is actually a pattern, and then you just paint the patterns however you want. Now, initially, CIG is just going to have it be a skin, and works like a skin, which is fine. You mean customization system like Warframe, where the color palettes are also one-time purchases? I don't think you should do color palettes as purchases. I do think that you'd probably want to have a very basic color palette that everyone has access to at customization shops. And then there are some places that have custom colors that you have to go to, because CIG is all about traveling to do the customization. I'd love the idea that these different like pearlescent paints, you have to go to like some specific customization place in Terra to get pearlescent look to it or something like that. 2,700 would spend it on Corona toupee. Are they charging for skins like they have in the past? Yeah, I mean, it's still the skins. I think the skins they're focusing on right now are going to be ones that are going to be charged. You have to pay the skins on the web for the web skins on the website. So yeah, they're not going to have them in game yet. You're not going to be able to earn them in game yet. Why we need male and female companions for Star Citizen? No. I have the Pimp module for the cat. That was the idea, Troll. The idea is that eventually I'll get a private tier that'll just be a space bar. That and an 890 jump. And the 890 jump is for, specialized clients who want to have very specialized experience. I'm just going to end up being in the service industry in Star Citizen, which is insane. Does the freelancers have skins? So all the skins in game. Let's pull up the skins so I can show you guys what I mean. Most of the skins are not in. I don't know if they're in quite yet, but let's go to the pledge store. Extras. Add-ons? Is this add-ons that they are? Yeah. Let's do. I'm gonna do the right thing here. Hub. Boop. Boop. By the way, we're gonna do a bunch of like points for all these people who've been coming in. Oh wait. Let me do this because I didn't do this right way. Currency. Remove all. No. Yes. Okay. Then we're going to do that and that. We'll do 2 of those. So you guys all have some bunch of stuff. Let's do this. So here are some of the skins here. They're $5. Distinguished Service, which is a UEE skin. You've got the Dread Pirate skin, which is kind of a pirate skin. Operation Pitchfork skin, which is Operation Pitchfork. South by Southwest skin. So they use the Aurora, but the Aurora isn't the only one that has them. They all have them. Then you also have, you got our backs, Electro Whole Skull skin. The Exploration skin, False Color skin, all these kind of things. Some of these were in game, which is the reason why you see the pictures on them. Sneezy. So you get the idea. These are all stuff these are the things that will be in game for you guys to do it, and they're transferable from ship to ship. So like you can have this pirate skin, in on your freelancer, and it'll look different on the freelancer than it looks on the Gladius and such. So. Take my money skin? Yeah. Well, 1,000 Auroras, you know it. Question, do we need a special space whaling ship to harvest space whales? Yes. Ironically, only whales will be able to purchase it. We should, there should be a freelancer or a cutty skin that is a Winnebago with a berry jelly countermeasure option. Allergic to skins, you know me. You're going to create an order to support the bar. You probably need bouncers, delivery drivers, restock, even escort squad, high profile clientele. Thick, possibly. The idea right now is I'm going to probably contract out a lot of the security work. I'll probably have some people help me out with, like, I'll pay people to help me out with, like, bar backing and bartending and stuff like that. And bouncing, but, like, outside of the ships, and, like, piloting, but outside of the ships, like, security to prevent people from just blowing up the ship. I definitely have to kind of record that kind of stuff. There's a lore story about Tonya trying to find the Artemis. Yeah. Probably the ship AI. Lore hunting, I found hints that maybe the original AI could be somewhere still operating and parts of the ship fell off in different systems. Could be in Microtech Stanton. Anyway, it could be a cool hunt for the explorers in gold. Nice. Yeah, I'd have to look that up. I didn't read The Lost Generation, but I know who Tonya Ariel is. She's pretty cool. She has the other story about the Hades system. It was her story as well. What's the deal with the Kylie Red? I have a few other ships like the Connie with a bed that I can't just respawn there if I die. No, you have to. The bed is for log outs and log back ins. So if you're in the middle of nowhere and you want to log out, you get in the bed and log out, and then when you log back in, you should be back in the ship. There's some issues that kind of exist, but those should work if you're in the middle of nowhere. But you need to have a medical bed to be able to do respawns. So like the Cutlass Red and the 890 jump and the Carrack are the three ships that have those medical beds. So you need to have those ships in order to do the medical respawns. Where's my pink uniform skin to trigger Salty Mike? Please, please. I have a Kraken with a privateer upgrade, not yet applied. If you need that to hide under the wrap, I'll be up front. Thank you. The idea is I want to earn that in game. You know, I want to be able to. I'll probably have a 600i to start out with the Astropub, but I want to be able to earn that in game to have to reach that kind of thing. We do it for free. Nice, man. We'll see. I have to start thinking about that once we start getting server meshing and stuff like that working. Then I'm gonna have to start hiring PMCs to help me out with that. The goal is to be kind of a gray bar, a dive bar that is legal on the surface, but you know, don't bring in your guns. You know, so if you want to, if there's a place where like bounty hunter is hunting their target, and the target wants to feel safe but wants to talk to the bounty hunter, you show up at the Astropub. Nobody has any guns. You can sit there and discuss deals. A place to be kind of like to be middlemen, be fences, essentially. You know, be the place where the illegal stuff meets the legal stuff. Need Big Benny skin? No. We have Blackjack and the Dragonfly bait? Of course. The whole idea is eventually to create a bar, dance floor, place where people can like play cards or do other things like that. All of that stuff. Sanctuary, yeah. Like the hotel in John Wick, basically, yeah. Here we go. Which we smell love. So I'm going to show you something, guys. This is let me see if I can't get the the thing I found because it's blowing up on. It's blown up. It's blowing up. I don't know why it's blowing up. Okay, here we go. I'll pull this up. I'm doing my best to hide this guy because I don't want you guys to attack this guy. This guy's not a bad person. But I'll read off what he says. So this is something I found. Wouldn't it be faster just to license the technology from mature? This is a guy asking a question to Chad McKinney, who is one of the guys who's behind a lot of the network stuff for Star Citizen. I believe he's specifically involving himself in like the server meshing and such like that. So the question is, wouldn't it be faster to license all the technology from a mature MMO where all these things have been programmed, but also bug fixed and perfected throughout the years in live non-beta conditions? For example, Elder Scrolls Online uses mega servers, which is another term for server meshing. They also have fully persistent states for items, and missions can recover all after both client and server crash. And ESO isn't the only game with server meshing and full persistence and fully implemented and perfected, i.e. bug-free. Thus, large portions of their code could be reused. Feels like you're reinventing the wheel, wasting time that could be spent on other things. All right. Some of you guys have probably already seen this or heard this because I posted this on Twitter and it blew up. But here is his response. Let me make it nice and big for us to read. I don't know if you guys have seen this one, but so I see this kind of response from time to time, so I figured I'd give some perspective on the approach may not make the most sense for a very large endeavor like Star Citizen. First, the issue of finding someone that will license something that you want is actually what you need. There's, of course, lots of big games that have been made and many engines along the way. The industry has resolved many problems in doing so. For example, the recent Unreal 5 tech demo showed off some crazy graphics, which is likely an evolution of their voxel cone tracing implementation that was in early access in UE 4. Which you may not know is that there's already another implementation of the same approach in other engines. Even Ogre 3D has one right now. Why didn't Epic just use one of the existing ones or vice versa? Well, for one, licensing fees or licensing issues, but on a technical level, because another implementation is built on a very completely different context. Very completely different context. Oftentimes, you'll spend as much time trying to integrate someone else's solution as just writing it yourself. But when you write it yourself, you can make it very specifically to solve problems in the most direct way in the context your engine game exists in without any bloat of a generic implementation. Now, there's always a balance you strike. And if you still find a fair amount exists of middleware in our engine, such as Wise, which hasn't been replaced or attempted to rewrite. It's all about picking your battles, and I can tell you that it is often a mistake to bet highly on your most important fundamental systems or on some other entity and hope that their solution really fits your needs and you'll get the support you need. That doesn't even get you into where you take your tech from there. Or if you plan on making multiple games, you may want to license the engine yourself. Video games and other high-performance programming domains benefit greatly from highly tune-specific solutions, which is why companies in 2020, many very large companies, are still developing their own engines and haven't converged into a single industry solution for an engine. To use your example, Elder Scrolls Online. Their problems are very different from Star Citizen's. The inventory system is much simpler, and the world persistence is non-existent. ESO highly utilizes sharding with dynamic instancing, whereas Star Citizen, we're trying to push towards a unified singular instance in any region and possibly globally. It wouldn't even begin to make sense to try to take their infrastructure and integrate it into ours to solve the problems we want to solve. Source, I worked on Elder Scrolls Online. Wow. Boom. Basically, there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all. Is that the post from Chad or whoever worked on ESO? Yes. Because it was just, it's just, whoo. Y'all gonna be Jabba the Hutt in this game. That's the idea there, troll. Yeah. Sorry, I went on. I love last week's remix bar. I had some awesome RP going on. Yeah, Dash Shield. Sorry we didn't. We kind of had to end it a little early. I'm playing ESO right now. 6 years later, from day one bugs, servers are also trash. Yeah. There was a lot of like, ooh, no. Chad, his name is Chad McKenney, is his name, full name. That was fair catcher coming from someone inside the news. The answer is fantastic, though. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the question was not malicious, I don't think. And I don't think that the answer is malicious. It's just the combination of the two is such an epic beatdown. It's like, hey, why aren't you just using a simple solution instead of reinventing the wheel? I mean, it's something that I have complained about, and a lot of other people have complained about. It's like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? For this topic. Now, I tend to focus on things like systems. You know, why try to reinvent the wheel when it comes to power management systems? Just look at what a game like Pulsar or Star Trek Bridge Crew, like those games do. How they manage shields versus in power and weapons and stuff like that. And how can you map and try to map that onto Star Citizen? Obviously, you need to change some things, but use that as the basis of the idea. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just focus on getting fun implementation in and then modifying it later. That tends to be my perspective on things. But that idea of just use something else, bro, and make it work. He's like, yeah, that doesn't work like that. Very informative, but also using your example of perfect code for ESO doesn't exist. Yeah, I've heard the PvP is really good in ESO. You could use that. Oh. My starting hangars on launch would probably be Magnus, Berea. Let me look at what the actual city is. I think it's Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. No, Odessa. Newcastle is the planetary capital, but it's off limits, so it would be Odessa. Magnus System, Berea, city of Odessa. Get some sleep, troll, man. I think that that's another point that a lot of people forget is that CIG isn't filled with people who this is their first time working. There's plenty of people who this is their first job working in games, but there's a lot of people out there who are working on Star Citizen who have many years of experience in other games, working for Ubisoft or Blizzard or EA or any number of different companies out there. Heck, most of Foundry 42's founding members were from the team that worked on the Lego games. And as much as people like to shit on the Lego games, there's some fun games in the Lego game category, and they know how to make them. Like, there was a Lego game every year. Like, they knew how to take the engine that they made and then recycle what they needed and improve upon it. Is there any system that is like the center of academics or research, a university planet? No, but there are. There's Retter University. Retter is probably the highest. Rudder, yeah. It's the so Rudder is the system. It has the it's where where students from the Martian Institute of Space Technology found. They were the ones who discovered it. And Rudder has Percy. Reese, yeah, the all of the Rudder system is university system. So, yeah, Reese, Mentor, and Percy are the 3 planets that have, and so Percy has, it's a tech universities are there. It's where the University of Percy Analytical Research and Quantification think tank is. Rudder 3 is Reese, which is the home of a great number of prestigious higher learning institutions that offer a variety of education options to people of all walks of life. Students and employees on these renowned universities and colleges make up a large percentage of the planet's population, which results in Planet 3 often referred to often being considered on the forefront of cultural and political movements. And then Mentor is a terraformed world at the very edge of Rudder's Goldilocks zone. Mentor is known for its highly rated universities with a populace largely composed of students and academics. The harsh boreal climate of the planet keeps it as much population indoors. So think of Mentor as microtech, but with universities. Reese is more the common universities. There's 3 planets which are basically, what did you say? Planet University? Yeah, there's 3. Entire system, Rudder. RHETOR. Are you going to be bartending G-Lock during the event this weekend? Yeah, because that's on ArcCorp. Yeah, I'll try to do G-Lock for the event. For Fleet Week. Yes, we'll definitely go to G-Lock on Friday. Do they know Amy Wong? She went to Mars University. Yes. The Mars Wongs. If they don't have Wong University in one of those one of those planets, I'm going to be disappointed, CIG. I enjoyed ESO. I thought it would be fun. Fun game. Best Bethesda game. Yeah. Well, it's made by ZeniMax. Fun fact: I passed by ZeniMax Studios every time when I was driving to work. Before I had to work online, I drove by them all the time going to work. I passed by ZeniMax Online Studios every time. I know people. I have met several people who worked on ESO. For students that don't pay their debts. That's good to hear, Firefly. Let's do some more beers out there for you folks who are coming in, hanging out, following and everything. Make sure you guys are retweeting and spread the love as well. Oof. All right, just to give you guys a heads up, because I'm streaming to both Twitch and to YouTube. We have about a little over 100 people on Twitch, 110, 112, and we have 50 people on YouTube. I didn't think we'd have this many people. 2015 Tomb Raider game, nice. Astro pups, if you will. Yeah, we're not gonna have any Cam. Our friends keep trying to get Cam to get a dog, and I don't mind. I wouldn't mind having a dog. The issue is that we have 3 cats in a small apartment. It wouldn't be fair to the dog. We want to have a house, so that's one of the things I'll be doing in the near future as well. Is doing self-shilling trying to make money because we want to get a down payment for a house. So anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000. We're at about $1,000 saved up for down payment. We need to get like probably another 3 to 4. And we can save some of it ourselves, but as part of a way to justify to Cam, like, hey, this streaming thing is actually helpful. It's not just a money sink or just paying for itself. We'll probably do some fundraisers for ourselves in the summer for that. Help Paul get a house. But we'll do events for it. Like we'll do giveaways and like 24-hour streams and stuff like that. So more Adam and Eve, yeah. I'll definitely be looking for more sponsorships. That's for sure. If they'll pay me. I talked with Mike about his work with Raid Shadow Legends. I was just curious as to like how they worked, and he was like, they gave me a lot of money. I was like, oh, okay. About the final 5 candidates? Yes. Let me go over the final 5 again. Leilani Addison. She's independent. She wants AI. She's a big person to try to bring back AI research, more funding into education. She thinks that's where the future is. Titus Costigan and Ileana Sherrod are both fairly similar. Sherrod is the current leader of the Congress, and Titus runs, I believe, the Commerce Department. He's also the son of the current imperator. But both of them are basically open for free trade. They're fairly similar. They both want more free trade with ASEAN, open up the markets more. They want to try to use economic influences to try to boost the prosperity, help new companies found, that kind of thing. Very economic liberalism. And then you've got Paul LaSalle, who is very much I wouldn't say corporatist, but that's probably the best thing to put it. He's a centralist, and he believes that the way forward is to give more freedom to companies, reduce regulations on companies, and let them run themselves, as well as a return to more traditional beliefs, dealing with other species, dealing with how humanity should be run, that kind of thing. And then lastly, you have Mira Nago, who wants to her focus is on higher spending for government programs, schools, research facilities, very similar to Leilani Addison, but she also is promoting her big kind of staple reform that she wants to implement if she becomes imperator, is the Tavaran, essentially affirmative action for Tavaran, by getting more Tavaran, making a mandatory amount of Tavaran have to be present in every government facility, or every government organization. So advocacy needs to have a certain number of Tavaran. The transport division needs a certain number of Tavaran. Essentially bringing Tavaran more into the UEE structure rather than just being kind of a species that exists in the UEE. So that's kind of the basic breakdown of all 5 of them. Would have voted for Jared Huckabee. What's the currency for trade? UEC, United Earth Credits, is the currency for trade, which is it's a fiat currency. I would have voted for Godos. Ain't no problem, man. Yeah, Levy, my plan is to do a video on all 5 of them because the final vote's in August or September. So my plan is to do a video on all 5 of them in the next couple of weeks. So you can kind of like break down their beliefs, as well as to kind of talk about the different parties and what their platform stands for. So you have a little bit of idea. Sounds like a Hurston man? He's definitely a Hurston man. I definitely say that Paul LaSalle is a Hurston man. Paul LaSalle is the kind of guy who's like, let's let those companies that run Stanton. They have good ideas. See, look at how they run. They're exactly how we should run the UEE. Just give it to companies. They're running everything fine. What's Jumptown? That doesn't exist. I'm voting for synths. Humanity's time is over. The Doom DACA. I don't know if Paul LaSalle would be down for that. Probably Costigan would probably be your best option for that, to be fair. Let's check the stack up again, see how many people have donated. Just Anadaya, which is not bad, thank you. You got $2 so far. Yeah, Stack Up is an organization that helps veterans with the power of gaming. So help that out if you guys get a chance to. Do I think people end up talking Banu or Xi'an like they're people talking Klingon? Oh yeah. There's already somebody who talks, Chris Haro, I think his name is, on Twitter, who does a lot of, he might actually be the guy who does the languages, I don't know, but he does a lot of, works a lot with the Xi'an language, so. Look at all this legal slavery. Everyone is employed. I mean, that's essentially how ArtCorp and Hurston work. Is today the first 7 Days of Valor? Essentially, we're going to do 2 7 Days of Valor for this year, because I talked with the Stack Up guys at PAX South about this, and they were very keen on us doing something other than just November. Because the thing about 7 Days of Valor, or things about us, it's a Stack Up, is they get a lot of attention in November because of Veterans Day and all those kind of those holidays, and so a lot of people are interested to fundraise for them then. But they also need money throughout the year. So the idea was that we were going to do a fundraiser sometime in July or June, and King Penguins wanted to do one on May. Because its Armed Services Day was the 16th, and then the 22nd is Memorial Day for the United States. So that's a good time kind of to do that as well. Does it end on Sunday? I think it's ending on the 25th, Monday, I think. This coming Monday. So we'll be raising money throughout this week for it. Some more beers out there for you guys. You're following all these wonderful folks. I do want to thank our new Patreon, Citizen Battle, who donated $5 today, and then Spirian, who donated earlier. One of the things that we're doing, for those of you who don't know, we do have a Patreon for Galactic Historian. A couple of the perks. One, you get referenced thanks in every one of the videos we do for Galactic Historian. You also get monthly access to Q&As with me. So I'll put a question and answers if you guys want individual discussions. I also do, it's basically a chance for you to ask specific questions to answer on this show that I'll answer live. And then I'm also I'm going to take all of the stuff that I have done, mostly, I'll try to do most of it, and turn it into an audio format so you guys can listen to it via like podcast if you want to. I'm making that as kind of a Patreon exclusive because I've kind of been doing that with some of the stuff already. So. Got the pandemic masks thanks to pollution. Yeah. Supposedly CIG has done all the recordings with the actors for Squadron 42 episode 1 many years ago. What about the next episodes? Mark Hamill's getting old. I don't know if they did just episode 1 there, man. I think they may have done all of them. They may have done episode 1, 2, and 3, and then they do pickup recordings if they need to. Make-believe symbols. He still did it 2 pounds. There we go. 2. Is that pounds or euro? That's pounds. They also released the latest Galactic Historia, and I keep forgetting to mention that. A lot of people come in and thank me for it, but on Invictus launch week, I'm going to use the Latin term for it. It's Invictus, but Invictus. Winnie Wiki. Kikaro. No raffle right now, Bandit. You want to enter the raffle? We have two Cutlass Blues we're giving away. Exclamation point May and exclamation point Cutlass. If you're in the Twitch chat. Pounds. This is euros. Yeah. What's for you 2 ideas for the info running skill tests? What do you think? Possibly. I mean, I think those aren't bad ideas. You could use both of them. I mean, there's lots of great little mini games that I've seen done, like the Fallout encryption works pretty well. But I'd have to go kind of deep into it to see how detailed it would be. As long as it has a high skill ceiling. It has to be easy to learn, hard to master. That's the key with any of the game mechanics. Anyone should be able to hack pretty simply, but it needs to have a ramp up skill section so that as it gets harder, it takes longer or requires more attention or whatever. So the older nationalist measure point of view was much more focused on trying to keep the measures in power. It was essentially kind of a show of measure influence in the UEE. The new one is much more focused on, oh God, we're all going to die. Get recruitment, and it's focused on recruitment. So whereas the old one was much more of a nationalistic show of pride and power, the new one is much more of a recruitment drive. So the idea of, if we said commercialism, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's more about selling you the Navy rather than trying to fill you full of zeal and vigor. Hey, Lativia. Lituva. Bedtime Story Channel. Thank you, Kirkland. Waffle. I mean, that's kind of what it has been since the fall of the Measures. The Fleet Week has always been kind of the rebranding attempt. We're not fascists. We're not authoritarians. We're your friends. Look, we make fancy space planes. Look at that 999 Squadron. They're doing such crazy maneuvers. Don't you want to fly spaceships like that? What do you mean, Vanduul? No. I mean, yeah, you come save your fellow citizens from Vanduul threat and fly fancy space planes. It's a marketing. That's what it is. Fleet Week is a giant marketing campaign for the Navy. If civilians just buy and police themselves, it saves money. Yeah. You did a captain's table about 3.9. What would change the prison system so far? More. I mean, honestly, what we have with the prison system is fine. I think the biggest changes I'd make is I don't mind the jump puzzle for escape. I'd like I think we talked a little bit like last Captain's Table, where we like the idea of having to find material to modify your mining tool, like create a welding, like a cutting tool attachment, just kind of put it together by finding certain items, and then using that as a means to escape. So making it a little bit less super easy just to leave, as well as adding more. I'd add more context to it. It's fine for the first version, like adding missions in prison, mission givers in prison, more than just like just stamping, the equivalent of stamping, license plates, rather than just mining. Having some sort of salvage or manufacturing thing you have to do to reduce it as well, or snitching on prisoners who were escaping. Like, see the name of the person who's escaping and go to it and put a report in. You get credits for snitching on your fellow inmate. I think we'll see. My first playthrough of Squadron's going to be live on Twitch, so we'll see how that works. Earn a tattoo, something like that. It's not a griefer solution, guys. I agree with Noodle when he says that it's not designed as a punishment. Prison is not a punishment. It's gameplay. It's supposed to be gameplay. It's supposed to be an addition to the prison lifestyle. In fact, I would go so far as to hope that prison is a place, if you want to be an outlaw, where you go. You have to end up there at some point. You will hit a ceiling of how much reputation you can get without going to prison, because the prison may be where all of the big shot gang leaders live, because they're safe from reprisals. And often, even today in the United States, prisons are often seen as criminal university. If you want to get connections to do bigger scores, being in prison and meeting people is a great way of improving your chances and getting more jobs outside of prison. So, and in terms of this is gameplay, you want people to want to go to prison for certain cases, and it also should be in terms of like a stumbling block, in the same way that someone blows up because a pirate's attacking them. That's a stumbling block. That's a risk. It's a time sink. So, stitch the Stitcher's mouth. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need to have some sort of ship that you could use to escape. I mean, yeah, it's just so happens that it will probably also stop griefers from acting like assholes. Your friends made a prison gang and blockaded the exit? Yes. How many starter locations do you think we'll get to choose from the final PU? I don't think they'll have any limitations. I think every system in the game will be allowed to have a starting location from it. You'll be able to just choose. You want to start in Pyro? Cool, you start in Pyro. It's nuts, but go for it, But they'll definitely have it labeled. They'll have it labeled as like beginner, intermediate, and hard starting zones. So, like Stanton will be a beginner zone. If you're new to the game, go to Stanton. Intermediate might be Magnus, and difficult might be Pyro. So they'll have some sort of classification system, or at least they'll have some sort of system out there for people to know that this is not easy. So Block 4, Captain Chung. Yeah. While flying, though. Did that come out? I mean, people have joked about me setting up a bar in the caves, but I don't mind setting up prison. Give me the option to make prison wine, and we'll have fights in the boxing arena. We'll throw bets on boxing. People box each other. The idea of having just kind of an open to everybody, like have people choose where they start and it doesn't really matter. I like that idea too. I mean, it's an open world. People should have a choice. You want to choose the hard path? You can choose the hard path. But especially if you just have an Aurora, you're going to die a lot. Clash your Tiki Bar. Yeah. That's fair assault. The Clash your Tiki Bar. Bit of punishment for griefers because griefers won't want to roleplay, don't want to roleplay, they want to troll other players. It slows them down from trolling other players, maybe control people who escape. Maybe, but like I think it has the back end, it essentially has the unintended consequences of saying people who are just trolling each other, or trolling players, will end up in prison. If they will end up in prison, they're going to end up, they're going to be locked in there with people like myself. And I'm just going to kill them because I don't care. It has that added benefit. It's an unintended consequence, but it has that added benefit. Fighting for toilet paper. A-star killer. I think at the very beginning of the game, there'll be a lot more consequences than just going to prison. They'll have a more fleshed out insurance system, and like getting your ships back will be a little bit more expensive. And I think most ships will be launching from hangars rather than just from pads. So from on stations and other locations. So you won't have like players would have to like fly into a hangar and kill people. Plus there's also AI will be better than it is now. So if you're just loitering in an area, you're just going to get shot or disabled and then arrested. There's going to be a lot of things that will prevent the kind of stuff that happens now. Al-Asar is not an example of how ships will function or how stations will function in the future. It is definitely an example of how it used to work, how the old systems worked. But I don't think fleets will be a passive source of income. I don't think CIG and Chris Roberts have specifically said that they don't want people to have passive sources of income. You won't be able to do that. All right, guys, we're coming towards the end of this. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Make sure, again, exclamation point, stack up. If you guys want to help us, if you want to help out with our donation drive, put this in chat, as well as exclamation point Cutlass. Getting the Cutlass Blue. That's going to be going here for a while. Now, the big thing that we're still giving away Cutlass Blue. We're giving away actually 2 Cutlass Blues. So one is from CIG and one is from myself. The one that's going to be given away sooner is the one for myself. That's exclamation point May in chat. So 2 Cutlass Blues. CIG is giving us one which is a package. I'm just giving away one. And then we're also raising money for veterans. So join us. Whew. I'll answer this last question. Do you know how they'll handle ship persistence? My dream of our org will be able to wander the fleet, take the collect the Quarian fleet. Yes, that should be possible. I mean, that should be possible sooner rather than later. You just have to log out. You have to have a bed to log out in, and then the ship will log out. Otherwise, if you don't have a bed, the ship will persist. But if you're not there, it'll get blown up, kind of thing. Definitely, it should be possible though. I think the way that'll work is if you have the bed and you log out and there's nobody else on that ship, the ship will disappear. That requires persistence, which is something they're working on the back end for already, which is different from server meshing, but they're tied into that. The Cutlass thing, I'll put it in there again for you guys who are in. I just posted it in for those of you guys in YouTube chat right there. They should be able to do so. I'm sure the way it'll work, and this is just the simple way, I don't know if this is the way they're going to do it or not, is if nobody is logged into the ship and everyone is logged out in a bed, then the ship will disappear. If you still have friends who are flying it, then it won't disappear. Let's do exclamation point May. Most of those commands are on my Twitch channel. For those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube, we are live on Twitch, twitch.tv/theastropub. That is on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. But usually Tuesday is our time when we do the Twitch and YouTube thing, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is a little bit different. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Love your faces. Hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday. The Black. Later, guys.